Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your very first time. I'm May, and this is going to be my August TBR video. For the month of August, I am participating in the Dice-A-Thon readathon that my friend Mariah holds, and this is special because this year they asked me to do reading sprints, which I so gratefully said yes to, and I even said that since I'm doing reading sprints, I probably should go all out, so I'm going to be using dice to pick out my entire TBR. The readathon doesn't say how you have to use the dice. You can use them whatever you want for. You can do pages that you read a day, how long you read a day, how many books you read. And I decided that I read the same amount of books every month just because of consistency. So we're going to be reading 15. 2 of them are new releases, so those are a given. So I'm going to be picking 13 out with the dice. And I have a whole way of doing this because I thought it would be fun to make it all extra. So I'm going to be rolling. I think this is a D10. I stole it from my boyfriend, but I have set up some rules, and we're going to go to my little notepad so I can show you the rules and show you the series that I have to get through. Okay, so this is my notes. I wrote down the fantasies that I'm in the middle of and the romances that I'm in the middle of. I'm going to do like a 2-for-1 with this August TBR. I'm going to do the die, obviously, but I'm also going to be trying to finish out some series that I'm in the middle of. So I'm trying to like tackle 2 boards with 1 stone. So essentially I'm going to roll 3 times for each book. I'm going to roll once to see if it's going to be a fantasy or romance. And then I'll roll to see if I read the next book in this series or the rest of the remaining books that I have. And then I'll roll to actually like count down like the page to see what number I get. So this first roll, if it's even, it's a fantasy, odd, it's a romance. And I have no way to show you because obviously I don't have a bottom down camera, but I'll try to, you might have to just take my word for it, but we got a 2. God, we got a 2, and that means it's going to be a fantasy, and then we're going to see if we're going to be reading the next book in the series or the remaining books, and it's a 5, which means we're going to be reading all the remaining books that are possibly in it, and now, out of the 5 that fantasy we have, we're going to see what one we're going to be completing, and we got 3, which means we're going to be reading the entirety of Rogue X Aura, and I'll actually go to my spreadsheet to show you those ones. This is my reading tracking sheet, and I have all of them listed, but I thought it'd be easier to see on the page. But Rogue X Aura, I've already read The Last Storm, so I'll be reading The Last Drag, The First Love, and The Last One Standing. I believe they're all out, but that's actually my first 4 books out of 13, because I have to read the rest of the series. Now we shall roll again. It was a 3. So which means it's going to be a romance, and let's see if we're reading the whole thing or just the next book. And we got a 1. So once again, reading the remaining of the series. Some of these I'm very not far into. Like if we get Bridgerton, that's my TBR. Because I still think I have like 9 books of Bridgerton. This is a little scary. We got 10, which we don't have. So I'll just roll again. Because I could go like back to 1, but we'll just roll again. We got 6, which is Haven River Ranch. I only have 1 book in that series left. It is called Sunlight. So Haven River Ranch only has 2 books so far. I've already read Crossroads, so all I have to do is read Sunlight. So that brings us up to 5. Time to roll again. And we got a 5, which means it's gonna be another romance. I don't even know if this is, oh, that's a fucking 3. Hold on. It's so hard to, there we go. Either way, 3 or 5, it was gonna be a romance. And we will be, it was a 0. It was a 0 again. A 4. So that means we only have to read the next book of the series. We don't have to read the whole thing. And let's see what romance we're getting. It fell off. I'm so sorry. We got 4 again, which is the Dirty Air series, and I only have to read the next one. Dirty Air, I already read Throttled, so I have to read Collided. So that brings us up to 6 books. Time to roll again. A 3! Another romance! Wow, this has ended up being a very romance heavy, which is scary, because once again, oh god, if I get Bridgerton, I'm fucked. So it is a 6, which means I don't have to read the next book. And we got 5, which is the Chestnut Springs. And that means I'll be reading Heartless next. And I believe that brings us to 7. Rolling again. Oh my god, I'm rolling too hard. A 0 again! And we got an 8, which means we're going to be reading a fantasy. Finally, we got another fantasy. And are we reading the whole thing? We got a 0 again. Oh my god, I rolled it off. I'm bad with dice, apparently. We got a 5. So we have to read all the remaining books in the series. Which I got a 6, which I don't have. So I'll roll again. And then I got a 7, which I don't have. And then I got a 3, which we already got those books. And then a 1, which is only one more book because it's a duology. So this right here. So I have to just read Wildborn, which I believe brings us up to 8 books. I had to double check my math, and we're at 7 books. And I also highlighted the ones that we've gotten so far. Well, the ones that we can't, like, read again. I didn't highlight Dirty Air or Chestnut Springs because we could technically get those again and just read the rest of the books. But these other ones that are highlighted, we can't. There's no books left to read since they've already been selected. But let's roll again. And it was a 6, which means it's a fantasy. I'll show you. A 6. Oh god. A 6. And then it's a fantasy, and oh god, I rolled it off. And it is a 0. I keep getting so many zeros. It is a 5, which means I'll be reading the remaining series. I keep getting these for the fantasy, which might be a good thing. And let's see which one we're getting. And it's a 1, which we already got. It was a 7, which we don't have. A 7 again. We need 2, 4, or 5. 1 again. 0 again. A 2. We got a 2. A 2, which means we'll be reading the rest of the Severed Signet series, which I believe is 4 books. Oh, no, it's 3 books. I have to read Tempted by Blood, Bound by Betrayal, and Liberated by Sin. So 3 books, which I will just be adding, which brings us 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That brings us up to 10. So we'll be picking out 3 more books. A 4, which means it's another fantasy. Oh, sorry. A 4. And it's a 5, so we'll be reading all of it. And we got a 6, which I don't have. We need a 4 or a 5. I got a 6. A 3. So, I'll just keep going. I got a 5. I got a 5. And the Sacred Stone, I only have 2 more books left. So, we'll be reading those 2 books. I believe it has 2 books only. Hold on. It took me so long to get a 4 or a 5. Yep, 2 books. So I only have 1 more book. That brought us up to 12, I believe. So 3, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, we only have room for 1 more book. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll for a fantasy or romance, and then we're going to roll for what one, but we're not going to do the next book in series or read all the remaining ones because I don't have the option. We're just going to read the next book in the series, no matter what. Let's see. So we got a 0. We got a 4, so it's a fantasy, which means it's going to be Belladonna. I'm actually... I only have 2 books left in that series. And if I just read an extra book, I can go ahead and finish all the books in fantasy. All of them. I won't be behind on any fantasy books. This was not planned. This was not rigged. I did the dice. I'll even show you. I'm holding a 4. Oh, that's a 0. There's the 4. This was my original idea, was just going to be a fantasy month. But I was like, I'll do the die and see what it picks. It picked for me to... I just read 1 extra book this month. I could finish out all the fantasy that I'm in the middle of, that I can finish. Like, some of them have new releases, which I can't help, because it's, they come out in September, October, November. But these are the ones that I can actively finish. I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna finish out Belladonna. We're gonna just finish out Belladonna. And we're gonna read 16 books instead of 15. Holy cow. So, as a recap, we are going to be reading the rest of Forestborn, the rest of Severed Signet, the rest of Rogue X Aria, the rest of The Sacred Stones, the rest of Belladonna, the rest of Haven River Ranch. We're going to bring the next book in the Dirty Air series and the next book in the Chestnut Spring series, and that will bring us to a total of 13 books, plus the extra that I'll reading for Belladonna, so 14. And then I have 2 new releases, The Accomplice to the Villain and The Fallen of the Dusk, I think it's called. And that will bring me to a whopping 16 books, and I'm really excited. And I will not be done with the die. The die will be making an appearance as well, but just not in a video. When I do sprints, I'll be rolling to see how long the sprints will last. So if I roll like a 6, that'll be 60 minutes. If I roll a 2, that'll be 20 minutes. If I roll an 8, that's 80 minutes. A 9, they're 90 minutes, so and so forth. And I'll also use it to roll, like, how many sprints I'm doing. So 3 or 4 or 5. The die will be making a big part of this month. You just guys won't see it. This is the part that I can show off to my YouTube people. If you're interested in seeing me do the rest of it, come find me on Twitch. I have the same username as YouTube, which is Brewing with May. I'm on there. I stream reading sprints at least once a week. I'm going to try to do 2 in August a week if I can. But no matter what, it will be on a Wednesday at least. So this is it for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and I hope that you don't think that I rigged this. I just got lucky with the die, apparently. It was in my favor. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. And for an emoji to comment, which I think I've forgotten for a couple of videos, put a fantasy emoji. Put a emoji that reminds you of fantasy. Whatever that may be. That will be the emoji that you can comment. Because apparently I'm about to have a very fantasy-heavy reading month. Hell yeah. I love reading fantasy. I have no problem with it. I don't mind reading one genre all in one go. I'm not a mood reader. So this will be really good because then I can spend the rest of the year knocking out these romances because I have a ton. Technically, Severed by Signet is a dark romance, but I'm putting it in the fantasy section because it's really dark. And it fits the vibe of the other fantasy books that I have on that list. So, and then I can spend the rest of like September, October, November, December getting through these 9 romances that I'm in the middle of. Clearly, I have an issue with starting and finishing romances. I start them and then I simply just let them be. Like, I know for a fact, like, Dirty Air, Chestnut Springs, Windy City, and Rose Hill, I started the first book and then simply did not pick up the rest of the series. And it's been, like, 9 months. So, I do need the push. I'm not much of a romance reader. Fantasy is definitely more of what I'm into. And I do have a ton of fantasy releases coming out. I technically do have more fantasy to finish, but they don't come out until September, October, November. So those will be finished as well, but these are like, I'm going to be done. Like, I'm going to be done after this pretty much, because I always do my new releases. New releases always get read. They're like the highlight of my month. So I don't have to worry about those ones. It's just somehow, I'm going to have to do a reading romance segment, apparently, for the next couple of months, but yay! The die was kind to me. The die was nice, but yippee! I will see you guys when I see you. Bye for realsies.